testing the audio.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
All right.
God.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, give all praises to Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
Ba'ashem,
Bashamaka Kodash.
Kodash. That belongs to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to all our king they're doing the work in sincerity and charity with humiliation all across the four winds. The UA salute. This is the brother Yasha Wamba, and I'm here with the brother,
Yashawan.
from the JMS Bahamas camp. You know, here with a brief, spiritual herbal edification. You see, the Akim inside our camp. They calling me the herbalist. Because I took a favor of the herbs, and the most I put in my spirit that that's the lot what he gave me, and I want to touch on a particular herb today. You know, uh, Fennel, right? Fennel is one of those herbs. Once you see it or smell it or taste it, you can't forget it.
God,
It has a distinct smell. It has a distinct taste. The flavor, the aroma, and the look. You can't forget it, and it has many uses, right? But I want to start off with this scripture first. Let's get in a second, not a second.
yeah, Sirach.
Yeah, come.
Yeah, Sirach 38 and 4.
Come.
All right. This is Sirach in the Apocrypha. All right, chapter 38 and verse 4. It says, the Lord created medicines out of the earth. A prudent man will have no disgust at them.
Come. The Lord created medicines in the earth. I get that Genesis 1 and 11 from my love.
Right,
The
God.
Lord created the medicines in the earth. These things are for our betterment. From the earth we came. So whenever we get sick or we have an ailment, where you think we ought to return to get better?
God.
We got to return back to the earth,
God.
along coupled with prayer, because we are not only earthly, we are spiritual beings as well. You
God.
see?
God. This is Genesis 1 and 11. And Power said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so.
God, it said, let the earth bring forth herb yielding seed, right? And when we look at, I can pull it up right here. When we look at fennel, fennel is a herb. Now this one is a younger one. It didn't bear any seed as yet, but as it grows, it will bear seed, right? And that's what we use, to get the nutrients from. Now, I can't remember. You can put it on now. Fennel, yeah. What I wanna, you can spin it around. So, like I say, it's one of those herbs you can't forget. Now, when you're looking at it, you can see it has short the leaves here. They like more fibrous leaves. It's similar to dill, right? If you over here, this dill right here, right? They look alike, right? They look alike, but the fibers on this is kind of soft. The fiber on the fennel is a bit more rigid, right? So the leaves of the fennel is what you would use to season like meats, or if you want to make like
Solids and
salads and such. You could boil them to make tea. You could dry the leaves to make tea. Some of the other uses of the fennel is you could once you dry it, you could mash it down and make it into a soap. It helps to soothe rashes and other ailments like that, like skin conditions, inflammations of the skin. If you collect the seeds, what a lot of people don't know is you could collect the seeds with fennel, right? You need about 2 tablespoons of seed, and you put it inside a cup, and you pour 1 cup of boiling water over it, right? And you let it steep for about 10 to 15 minutes or until it's completely cool. And you strain it out, and then you take a clean cotton cloth and you rub it in your eye. So it's an all natural Visine, it's an all natural, eye wash. You see?
God.
So if you have like, let's say if you get pink eye or if you get irritation in the eye, or you get something in your eye, you could wash your eye out with the fennel water. Another use you could use this plant for is inside the culinary aspect. It goes great with fish. It goes great in soups. You know, Another aspect you can even use the seeds for, if you're familiar with grape water, right, we just give babies when
Yeah,
they have
yeah,
gas.
gone, yeah,
You take the fennel seeds, you soak that inside water, and then you either give it to the infant or you take it yourself, and it helps relieve gas. You see? Now I want to bring out, your rad design, bring out some history of what fennel is, right? Right here I have a herbal book, that I read from time to time. It's an encyclopedia on herbs. You know, because you could go online to search out certain things, right? But you can't beat hard copy books. You see? And let me show the book real quick. It's called the Encyclopedia of Herbs, right? It has all the information on different herbs, the different uses, whether in household or whatever kind of use may have for it, right? Let me bring up some of the uses of fennel, or some of the backdrop of what fennel is, right?
gone,
It says fennel. The Greeks thought very highly of fennel and used it for slimming and for treating more than 20 different illnesses, right? And we know they got this information from us. You see, because the Mosai gave who he gave this to. You see, he gave the instructions to us. He gave his law, statutes, and commandments to us. He gave us the truth.
gone,
You see, so when it comes to these herbs, it would benefit us more than it would benefit any other nation because it wasn't given to them.
gone. It's a lock here, right? Uh, I read in some form of history where you mentioned the Greeks. Okay, the Greeks also they give the Romans actually they gave they used to give their soldiers fennel. Okay, to help strengthen them.
Gone. And
All
that's
right,
it. There you go. You know, the Romans, the Saxons, I can read on radio. It say, the Romans ate it, the root, the leaf, and the seeds
yep,
in salads and baked it in bread and cakes. In the Anglo-Saxon times, it was used on fasting days, presumably because, as the Greeks had already discovered, it stilled the pangs of hunger.
right,
So, for for those of us who fast, right, or if you just get into fasting, or you're not a consistent faster, right? Initially that first days be difficult because those pangs of hunger start to hit you.
right,
So what you would do is, if you're doing, let's say, a wet fast, like you only drinking water, you take the fennel, soak it inside the water, and you drink on that throughout the day. So now you're not taking in any nutrients when it comes down to food, but the fennel water would help to sway the pangs of hunger.
right,
You see, it helps you to go longer without being hungry, and then it has that added benefit of of causing you not to get gassy. So you don't have no gas pains in your stomach.
mm-hmm,
You see, and if you're trying to go on a diet, if you incorporate fennel into your diet, you wouldn't it wouldn't cause you want to eat as much. You see, because it curbs hunger,
right.
right? Now, it says that even in later centuries, it was much used in drink to make people more lean that are too fat. Like Doc said, it made the soldiers more fit. You see?
Right,
Now, it says here, fennel, it says here, being fragrant, it kept insects at bay. It had a high place in the kitchen too, lending its flavor to food that was often far from fresh to get palatable, right? So now it helps keep away mosquitoes. It helps if you get eye irritations, skin irritations, stomach, bowel irritations. So just this one herb within itself is jam packed full of nutrients. You see how
right.
powerful the Most High is?
Yeah, it's gone.
Give all these solid properties in one herb,
In one herb,
and there are thousands of herbs out there.
gone.
You see,
It have many benefits.
gone. You see. Now, the next precept what I want to get is the one in second Esdras that I bring up earlier. I think that's the. See,
Oh,
not that.
second address.
It's a lock here.
Yeah, so the brother was speaking on the fennel. Okay, like I said, it have many uses, many benefits, as I went through and name off. Okay, so it's a good property for us as Israelites, and as you see that these other nations basically copied it. All right, because Jacob is the form of all things.
Con,
Okay, so this stuff, all right, this is some good stuff.
con,
Okay, and us Akim here, us brothers, okay, we are encouraging other brothers, all right, to get into the herbs now. All
con,
right, because guess what? The time is coming up. Okay, when you see insurrection, when you see sedition, all right, when you see are we in the what the times right now of wars and rumors of wars? Okay, hyperinflation,
you ain't gonna be able to afford me.
right? You won't be able to afford a lot of things. All right, so what we saying, but this fennel, all right, and that's powerful too. That the Most High put in our spirit, you know, to bring out this fennel. You see, because if you take some fennel with some water, and you drink that, you won't even feel hungry.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So hey, all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Con, all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Now, the precept we're going to get into is second Ezra chapter 12 and 51, right? We can see here, whereas, bring it over first one now.
God, this is second address 12 and 51. But I remained still in the field 7 days, and as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days of the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs.
Gone. So he only ate of the flowers of the field and the meat of the herbs. So again, let's touch on fasting again. You know, a lot of people when they think fasting, they think about just not eating food, not drinking water. No, that's not the only way you could fast. You could do a fast from meats. You see, you could do a fast where you just eat herbs. You could do a fast where you just drink water. And then the fast where you don't eat no food, no water. But what I want to focus on is the fast with just the herbs. You see, yeah, wait, you know the saying, you are what you eat,
God,
right? If you try a fast where you just eat herbs, like you cut out meat for let's say a week or a month, and you just eat herbs, you would feel completely different than when you eating meat. You see,
right?
because right here, the angel told him to just eat the flowers of the field and make herbs your meat. You see, and that was required of him to get a better understanding as to the question what he was asking. You see, so the scriptures are written for our learning. So if you want a higher understanding in the thing, you have to practice fasting. You have to practice refraining from meats. You see, you gotta incorporate more herbs into your diet. You see, me started with myself, because it's a lot of things what we could do better, right? When it comes down to diet, exercise, and such. We Jakes, we constantly working, and by the time you reach home, the only thing you could do is eat and go to sleep. So start with myself. That's something when I had to incorporate more, you know, in the day-to-day life.
God,
You see,
right? That like the oxy. All right, this is something we could incorporate within our life. Okay, our daily life. All right, this is just one herb,
right?
one. All right. So you see all the uses and benefits of this one herb,
Come, and its leaves and its seeds and its roots.
right?
And the flowers of it, everything on this herb is edible. If you could point the camera back at it, But what I want to get right, because the way how fennel grows, it grows similar to how dill grows. Now I can show you here a picture, right? This what fennel look like when it's in its younger stages, right? This how it looks. Now as it matures more, these are what the flowers look like before. These are what the flowers look like when they come to term, and these is what it look like when you get this way you harvest it to collect the seeds. You see, so you would collect the pods right before they turn into flowers, so that when you take it and you dry this, you'll be able to collect it and collect the seeds, right? Let me show you.
God,
That's what an example, right? Because fennel and dill, they flower in a similar way, but once you see it, you know the difference, right? That's for quick edification's sake. This here, this a dill plant what I have, right? You could put the camera on this.
God,
This is what the fennel. This is what dill looks like when it's ready to be collected as the seeds, right? and that's what it looks like when you when it's about to turn into a flower, and this what it looks like after it flowers. So dill will have a similar look to this. So I mean fennel would
Fennel,
have a
gone.
similar look to this. You would take these, you would harvest these, and you could just pull them off just like that, and you do fennel the same sad way. You take this, you soak it in water, or you pour hot water over it, and you make your tea. You see? So, or you just a bad idea would be to plant even more, because
Gone.
you can't never have too many herbs.
You know that.
You see?
And
But go ahead.
still like even with this dill seed, okay, as you just take that off the head just now, it comes with a type of aroma.
Right
Okay,
off the bat.
right off the bat. All right, and thing about it, I ain't even standing that close to this tree.
Right.
Okay,
You see?
so imagine you are boiling some water, and you pouring that in the cup with that dill seed.
Oh yeah. Now they'll see tea. That's a soothing tea. Believe me when I tell you that tea hit different. But
Right,
we'll do dill seed on another day. Right now the focus is on fennel.
gone.
Right. So let's get that closing piece up the
All right,
Right.
all right. We're gonna end it off with this precept, Ezekiel 47 and 12. And it reads, "And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall it shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaves thereof for medicines."
Gone. So when it goes into the fruit that it gives, would basically be for perpetual, right? As these herbs grow, what they generate seeds.
Seeds, right?
So after this herb reaches term, right? The amount of seeds what you get from this, you can make more and more and more and more and more, perpetual. You see, so but that's the spirit, because when you think about it, right, the Most High created the earth to be inhabited,
Yeah.
right? And if everybody took just what they needed, there would never be hunger in the earth. When you
Yep.
look at this one plant, that one dill plant,
Yep.
that one from one seed, right? Look how many seeds in one from one head that generated.
Yep.
One dill plant
God.
could feed basically a whole village. And if you
Exactly.
take one from one pod, you can make thousands of more of that.
Thousand more, right?
Ain't no need for nobody to say they don't have no dill inside their yard.
Yep.
You see? Imagine with fennel, imagine the rosemary and all these other herbs.
Right.
You see? But we live inside a wicked world. And inside a wicked world, the righteous is called wicked.
God.
When the wicked in rulership, the earth mourn.
God.
You see? Esau, he'd look at this, he'd harvest them, turn them into his own type of thing, into his own artificial medicine, and sell it to you.
Yep.
Why buy the artificial medicine when you could get it directly from the source?
God.
You see?
That's it.
That goes for us Israelites.
Exactly.
Because we only really we would benefit directly from the source.
God.
You see? But that's just a quick edification what I wanted to do on fennel. Tawadi Abishim Shai for the brother coming through.
God.
Again, the herbs there for our benefit. And when you take the herbs, you have to couple it with prayer.
God.
You have to incorporate prayer with it, because a herb taken without prayer is just you just drinking flower water. You see?
God.
Or grassy water. You have to incorporate prayer with it. Healing comes from the Most High.
God.
You see? You got a precept up?
Right. God. You talk about prayer, right? All right. Because we know, hey, in order for anything to work in this life, okay, it have to work through prayer. All right. This is back in Ezekiel, not Ezekiel, Sirach 38:9. It says, "My son, in thy sickness be not negligent." All right, that's in the revised version, but I'm gonna get the the King James Version. All right. It say, my son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole. You see? So in all things, you gotta pray. Okay? Now, we know we gotta pray every day. All right? We're not gonna just pray when we get sick, as the Christians do. All right? When they get sick, that's when they're gonna go and they're gonna pray. All right, but the Lord still in here their prayer. Because why? They are lawbreakers.
And they ain't doing it in sincerity.
And right. All right, they just want to get healed for right then and there, and go back to their doing whatever they do. Okay, so yeah, man. Let me read it again. It say Sirach 39, 38 and 9. My son, if in thy sickness be not negligent. All right, we have the herbs surround us. All right, all around us. Okay, so we must be not negligent of these herbs. All right, but pray unto the Lord, and He will make thee whole, meaning He will heal you. Okay, because healing comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Okay.
All right, got it, brother.
Gone, Malak. And like dog say, healing comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So you have to incorporate prayer with these herbs, else it ain't gonna work. You see, trust the process, trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and trust in His mercies.
God.
We almost over the ark, So I implore you, get into the herbs. Start taking them and taking them more. You see, if you can find them dried is good, but fresh is better.
Right.
You see,
God.
but again, don't abort the herbs. You see, only fools abort the herbs.
That's it.
You see,
Hey, and once again, like I said a little earlier, we coming in some time. Sometimes right now you can need herbs.
gone.
Okay, so get used to it now. All right, like when old commercials say with Buckley's, it may be bitter,
But it works.
but it works.
Gone.
All right, but in this truth, okay, the herbs may be bitter, but that ain't gonna work unless you pray.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
But with that, I'm gonna give all praises to
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ba'akadash,
Shalom, and Abad B'Bod.
Shalom.
Shalom.
That'll stop that, man. Oh, to the next day.